In this war map overview, we provide the latest developments on the battlefield in the Russia-Ukraine war and events in Ukraine's counteroffensive as of July 17. The Crimean bridge linking Russia to occupied Crimea was hit by 2 explosions and partly destroyed. Observers suppose that drones with explosives conducted the strikes. Crimean bridge is critical to Russian war logistics as Moscow uses it to transfer troops, equipment and munitions to Crimea and then to the south of Ukraine. The bridge destruction can significantly affect the war and Ukraine's counteroffensive. The Ukrainian army continued missile strikes on Russian warehouses deep behind the front lines. One of the strikes hit a coal mine in the village of Yuvileine near Luhansk. Ukrainian General Staff reported that Ukrainians destroyed a massive warehouse with Russian rockets. Analysts say that Storm Shadow missiles were used for this strike. The Ukrainian army used the Storm Shadow missiles to strike Russian-occupied Mariupol and Berdyansk cities, where residents reported multiple explosions. Berdyansk and Mariupol became key Russian logistical hubs, with warehouses, industrial and tourism facilities used for stationing troops and storing ammunition and equipment. Ukrainian forces made gains south of Bakhmut near Andriivka and crossed the Siverskyi Donetsk River. Several sources reported that the Ukrainian army liberated Zaliznyanske, 10 kilometers northwest of Bakhmut. Ukrainian Defence Forces liberated another 7 square kilometers in the Bakhmut sector over the past week. The Ukrainian Defence Ministry reported that the military cleared an area of 31 square kilometers in this sector. The Ukrainian army took control of parts of the heights near Klishchiivka, 7 kilometers southwest of Bakhmut. A Russian military blogger claimed that Russian forces are constantly moving reinforcements to the Bakhmut area, including Chechen troops. It means Ukrainian counteroffensive operations continue to trigger transfers of Russian forces to the Bakhmut area. The Ukrainian army made limited advances in the Zaporizhzhia region close to Staromuyorsky, an area 9 kilometers south of Velika Novosilka, and in the western Zaporizhzhia region northeast of Robotyno, 12 kilometers south of Orikhiv. In the Zaporizhzhia region, the Ukrainian armed forces have approached and dismantled the main Russian defense line in several areas. The main battle sectors include Berdyansk towards Vasilivka, Robotyno and Verbovy towards Tokmak, and Novopokrovka towards Poloy. The Russian invaders have suffered significant losses in the Orikhiv-Tokmak sector, prompting them to deploy their last reserve in the south of Ukraine, the 35th Army, located south of Verbovy. There was fighting on the left bank of Dnipro near the Antonievsky Bridge in the Kherson region. Sources did not claim any Russian or Ukrainian advances in the area. The Ukrainian defenders repelled Russian troops' attacks in the Andriivka area under heavy fire from enemy aircraft and artillery. The Ukrainian army continues to hold back the Russian attacks near Mariupol. The invaders launched air strikes on settlements near Krasnogorivka, Donetsk region. Russians continue missile and drone attacks on Ukrainian cities, also targeting the capital. On July 12, the Russians launched 15 Iranian-made Shahed combat drones on Kyiv. Ukraine's air defenses downed 11 of them. The attacks have killed and wounded civilians, including children, and destroyed residential buildings and other civilian infrastructure. Russians bombarded Kharkiv, which is far from the front line and close to Russia's border, 4 days in a row. Russian troops used C-300 missiles to attack this Ukrainian city. There are killed and wounded civilians due to these missile strikes. In the past few days, several Ukrainian military acknowledged that Ukraine's counteroffensive is going slower than expected. Russian missile attacks on cities force Ukraine to keep part of air defenses far from the front lines to protect cities, while Ukraine does not have combat aircraft to ensure dominance in the skies. As Russian invaders created strong defense lines with minefields, the Ukrainian army changed its strategy. The Ukrainian army crushes the Russian troops on the first line with heavy artillery fire and hits Russian artillery and munition stockpiles with long-range missiles. This tactic aims at exhausting Russian forces and creating conditions for success in the second stage of the counteroffensive.